Welcome to RPC Simple Finance. We're continuing with the Bitrefill card. Check out the other videos we're releasing about this card as we're putting it to the test. Remember that Bitrefill, as of today, already has a KYC, a significant KYC, and here we go with the fees for using the card, alright? Deposit fee. Basically, the starting fee is $1.99, alright? For every token you deposit into Bitrefill, they keep out of the total amount a 1.99% commission. It's a reasonable commission, alright? The problem we have is that here, we're talking about a fixed fee that Bitrefill charges, but then we also have a variable cost depending on the market price. Up to this point, it's logical, right? But it's true that this is applied by their partner, which in this case is Airfield, a company based in Stockholm, Sweden. That's why I mentioned it has KYC and is in Sweden. For those of you looking for total anonymity, this card is no longer valid, alright? In the past, it had certain payment methods without KYC at first, with many limitations, but that's no longer the case, alright? But it's true that if you're in other regions, it might be of interest to you, even just to avoid having a direct link between a card and an exchange. So it's $1.99 plus the fee applied by the market exchange rate and the partner, which is Airfield, okay? If you have the physical card, it's $2.49 for cash withdrawals at the physical ATM, alright? And here we have a bit of the limits, okay? 15,000 euros to start, after that it's unlimited. The daily spending limit is a maximum of 10,000 euros, and the monthly spending is between 10,000 and 15,000 euros. This mainly refers to the KYC issue, alright? Whether you have a basic KYC or an advanced KYC. As I said, right now it hasn't let me do a basic KYC. It just made me do an advanced KYC with biometric verification, your data, address, basically everything, alright? But this is what they're applying right now. Next, here you have the daily spending limit of 10,000, monthly spending 10,000, 15,000 for those who have better conditions, let's say. Contactless payments, 200 and 200, alright? SEPA cash withdrawal is not available for Swedish residents. I don't recommend using this option, alright? Because otherwise, in that case, you really do have a direct link to your bank account, the Bitrefill card, but well, it can be done, alright? And then there's also the option to withdraw from an ATM 350 per day, 3,000 per month. Okay, all of that is within the normal range, alright? Which cryptocurrencies can we deposit? Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, POL, and BNB. If you notice, USDT is not there. Why isn't it included? Because in Europe, USDT is practically banned everywhere. So for most of you who use USDT, which is almost everyone, you'll have to convert it to USDC, which means another fee, and with USDC you can deposit it, use the card, and spend with it. You can also do it with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, or similar. I recommend doing it with USDC because this way it's a bit easier to keep track of expenses when it comes to knowing exactly what we're being charged. If we start using Ethereum or Bitcoin, then they convert it, charge us a fee plus the gas and so on, and in the end it gets complicated and we really don't know what we're paying. So with USDC, since it's a simple equivalent to the dollar, it's easier for us to make the conversion. For almost everything you have to convert to euros, then account for the fee they deduct, and so on. It's also worth mentioning that the USDC network, ERC20, usually has much cheaper transaction fees, okay? It's important for you to keep this in mind as well. When you use a card like this, you have to consider the card's fee, the intermediary's fee, which in this case is Airfield, the exchange rate, and whatever they charge you to send the money, the gas fees, okay? So, of course, in the end, you have to figure out if all those fees are really worth it for you. Also, it's important to know that if you don't use the card for 12 months, you'll be charged a penalty of 10 euros per month for not using it. But of course, they can only apply this penalty if you have money in the account. If you don't have any money, they can't apply this penalty since overdrafts aren't allowed. And in that case, what would happen is that they simply deactivate your card. And that's it, okay? My recommendation with this type of card, as I always say on the channel, applies to all the cards we use in the crypto world. These are not cards to keep money stored on. They're cards to load money onto and use it instantly, since the conditions of these companies are constantly changing. And it's true that Bitrefill has been around for quite a while. It's a fairly well-established company. Being based in Sweden, it has to comply with a lot of regulations and so on, and it has pretty high longevity and reliability. But even so, these companies, due to regulatory changes or similar reasons, or even bankruptcies, can end up disappearing and many people could lose their money. So I want you to be very alert about this, okay? You put money in to spend, not to accumulate it on crypto cards. I hope I've helped you. We'll continue with the Be-Refilled videos and we'll be testing it soon. Follow us if you want to stay up to date with everything in the crypto world.